は僕をダメなやつと思う。鏡を見つめる僕を見下げているけど中には大きな力希望がある。 Maybe I'm a little young but you don't know what I become. Can't you see it in my face? A demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. You can't escape. No one understood the world that I was making. Look me in the face and tell me I was faking. Maybe I'm a little young, but you don't know what I become. Can't you see it in my face? A demon living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in. Don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer. I'd rather be free. I'd rather be a leader. I'd rather be a queen. I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer. I'd rather be clean. I'd rather be a poser in a magazine. I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in. Don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer. I'd rather be free. I'd rather be a leader. I'd rather be a queen. I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer. I'd rather be clean. I'd rather be a poser in a magazine. I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather
welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Can everybody hear me okay? Hello, howdy. Looney Tunes, welcome. John Lithium. I don't know why my mic wasn't working, but it works now. What up? Looney Tunes, John Lithium, the Preppy, Ladybug, welcome. Alright folks, today's stream is also going to be pretty short, because, again, my voice is not till, not 100% yet. These allergies have really cooked me these last couple of days, but we're hanging in there. Hope you're doing okay. I'm doing alright, much better. My allergies are more or less under control. I am happy to report that I've stopped, non-stop sneezing. So, I am happy to report that, at least on that front, we are getting those allergies under control. But, let me tell you, it's been rough. Let me tell you, it's been a rough couple of days. Well, actually, almost like a week, right? Almost a week. It wasn't that bad like last week when I did the stream, maybe Monday, or maybe, yeah, maybe Monday, last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday wasn't really that bad, but yeah. Anyways, my family's been suffering from allergies too. Yeah, it's really bad this year. I don't know. I mean, like, I know that I'm pretty prone to allergies as it is, but I've never suffered like this at all. I've never ever had allergies this bad. Ever, I think. But anyways, let's get through all the stuff that we have to get through, folks, because it's gonna be a it's definitely gonna be a short stream. Definitely gonna be a short stream today. If you want to support the channel, folks, and I really do appreciate it, check out the merch store, hit the exclamation mark tip, join the Discord, folks, and check out the Substack. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, and my show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Only certain things work too. Yeah. That's also kind of like the thing, right? You have to kind of find your, you have to find your formula. For me, it seems that, the Flonase plus Zyrtec seem to be the best combination. And I had Benadryl too, which is supposedly for allergies. But yeah. Zyrtec and Flonase. Allergies plus brutal cold and flu plus false spring in a few places. Yeah, no, it's been rough. I thought it was a cold for a while. For a good minute, I thought it was a cold. Because it kind of felt like one, but there was no other symptoms that would point to a cold. So eventually, it just kind of clicked. There was no, like, fever or nothing else. It was just really bad. Non-stop. Congestion, runny nose. And it wasn't, like, you know, icky or anything like that. It was just clear. Everything was just clear, so... I just couldn't believe it was just allergies, but it is. It is. All right, folks, we gotta get through some of this stuff. This is kind of funny, folks. So we obviously have to play this because, granted that there's so much like bad news out there. I think we need a little bit of a little bit of fun. Okay, just a bit. Okay, just only a tad.
Coined the phrase Ben Shapiro is the Pope of the Jews. And here's the thing that I don't think I understood when I said that. I said he's the Pope of the Jews because he proclaims who's a good Jew and who's a bad Jew. And he said that Bernie Sanders is a bad Jew because of whatever and this and that. And if you're Jewish, you know that there's no such thing as a Pope. And then, in fact, there's not even like, there's a head rabbi for different sects of Judaism. But to be a Jew is actually not to have a central authority that tells you what is a good or a bad Jew. Different sects will sometimes rise up in narrow circumstances to be able to, in Israel, but they're doing that through a political process, not through a theological process to define who is a Jew. Even matrilineal Judaism was something that changed it originally, of course, was patrilineal. Because the first Jew was a guy named Abe who decided
Allegedly.
that all the idols were bad. So there is no sort of like a person who is an edict. But what I did not realize when I coined the phrase Pope of the Jew, popes are considered almost like a quasi-deity. Mm-hmm. And I did not realize that's what I was conferring upon Ben Shapiro, because we're starting to see evidence of it. This guy has the capacity to transform. Here is Ben Shapiro, just like, when was this? Like
March 2024.
Okay, a year ago.
This is
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And look at him. We can play a little.
This is who we recognize.
I don't even know what he's talking about in this video.
Yeah, we don't even know.
This is him coming to support Trump after having endorsed DeSantis.
As most of you know, I'm voting for Donald Trump in November. I've said so.
Yeah, so like I'm so glad they kind of played this specific clip, whether it was like on purpose or by just pure coincidence. I'm so glad that they played this exact clip, because like when this all comes down and when this all ends, because it will end eventually, people like Ben Shapiro are going to try to pretend or downplay their role in all of this. They're going to say like, well, actually, I didn't want all of this to happen. Okay, I was just trying to vote for X, Y, or Z. But no, Ben Shapiro, you voted for all of this. All of this that's happening here, from the immigration stuff all the way up until starting this war with Iran. All of it. This is what you voted for, and this is the consequences of that action. Because like, just it's not. You're not excused. You're not excused because you knew and you made choices that led to this path.
Many times at this point. But I'm not just voting for Donald Trump.
Okay, pause it
Next
for a
week,
second. Right there, that's a good shot. Look at this man. He is in human form. Mm-hmm. But within 2 small years, he has been able to transform into something greater than human form. He has brow maxed into something even more amazing. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Look at that. He has...
Oh my God.
He has doubled... No.
It's eyebrow raising.
No.
It's
He has quadrupled the size of his... Not the length of his
volume.
eyebrows, the
Faucet.
the width. Like, I didn't know that eyebrows could actually grow that way. He is the Pope.
Has anyone ever done a hair transplant for their eyebrows?
Yeah. I in fact I think they mentioned this, but the thing that you use to kind of like help you regrow hair it's almost as if he just kind of painted his eyebrows with that, and now they're all just there. Michael Hatzler, welcome. Welcome.
I think my guess is in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks there will be butterflies coming off the front of his face.
I mean, honestly,
what is this?
they look like they're like curtains in front of his eyes, and then at night they just scan down like and go and then he can go to sleep because
That's the only way Ben Shapiro goes to sleep. After all the horrific shit he has helped bring about.
it's an eye mask.
Is this a camera problem? Can we get like a shot on with him on the show, like a current one, to do apples to apples? Because this is not possible. It's not possible. I've seen people who like the amount of eyebrow. What is it called? Shaving? Like what? Like
Right?
that he
Threading?
would have had to.
Threading,
What is it when you
Plucking?
like, plucking or whatever
plucking or threading are two.
to make it
Shaping.
that
Yeah.
thin back then? Because that's the only answer, right?
Right.
Is that he must have gone through a period of like.
Oh yeah, he must have been. But that doesn't
But
even
it still
look
doesn't
humanly
seem
possible.
Can-
I've never seen anyone with eyebrows like this in terms of just the look, the thickness.
Is this recent?
It's also
Yeah,
the
this is
length
one of
of
the more
them.
recent videos.
Like you could braid his eyebrow.
Oh my god. Yeah, he Botox that shit. Did you think no one would notice? Apparently. Or maybe he wanted somebody to notice and just start talking about his eyebrows instead of his horrific ideology. I don't know. Go into the barber and say, give me the Groucho Marx. Oh my god.
Hair in that more recent video.
That is not. Maybe.
He hasn't plucked in 5 decades.
It's almost like
I
you can
haven't
see.
plucked
Like
in
when
3,
was this?
4
Let's see. This was
ish.
fairly recently.
Cut off.
When?
Iran Wars 1 day ago.
Yeah, this is the Iran War.
Okay.
I wasn't here last night because we got a tornado pass through last night. It was not fun. Jesus. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Well-
He went to the spa then.
That's scary.
I mean, he definitely got some.
I'll go back a little bit further. Maybe there's something.
This is so strange.
He could donate those eyebrows to like a chemo charity.
Honestly,
That's true, actually.
locks of love. What's
There's
the,
a lot of people out there who need eyebrows, and he could provide like at least like maybe a half a dozen people with a.
This is 11 days ago. I mean, I had been noticing they looked a bit bushy, but not in the, like. That's why I was taken aback earlier by the the thing, because there's some big brows.
Those
but-
are definitely bigger than they were before. He must
Yeah.
have. He must have been plucking them like religiously at that time.
but
And-
Ice probably deported the landscaper that was taking care of him.
no, I want the. Can we put the other one back up? I just
Bonzilla,
want to look at them
welcome.
again because
Oh
it's
my
not.
god, that's hilarious. Welcome. It didn't touch down, thank goodness. Wow. That's still scary.
Like he's still plucking them, Sam. They're just not. He's just plucking them in the middle.
I wonder if it's possible that he actually.
Like they're still groomed, but there's no arch to them. Oh wait, there's the arch. Oh, whoa. Oh,
They're prehensile.
Oh my god.
He's got to be doing this on purpose. It's got to be some type of like thing that he's doing.
It honestly seems like it's a filter or something. Like, is there a filter? Does anybody know?
It's
Is
like
there
a
like an
joke
Instagram
filter?
filter that makes your brows like look bushier?
Why would he use it though?
I wonder.
He thinks it looks good. So, I mean, why does anybody use a
Well,
filter?
I
They think
wonder
they're
if
passing.
there's a certain amount of gender.
Gender
there's
affirming
some type
care?
of. There's
Is
some
it
type.
gender is that?
There could be some type of.
What is it more manly to have like absurdly thick eyebrows? I'm confused here. Maybe I'm not eyebrow maxing enough. Maybe it's me. Maybe we're the problem. We got to get on that level. Look, I don't got that Shapiro eyebrow max. Look at that eyebrow maxing. Look at that. I don't got any of that.
Like something like.
well,
I
they all
wonder
have
if he's
that beard
taking
now.
Something to grow his beard.
Yes.
I mean, that beard has been suspiciously having a
Finasteride.
tough time to come in.
Well, can I that
And
beard?
that would be amazing
Yes.
if he took medication to get his beard to come in, like the gender.
Yeah, and then he accidentally put it on his eyebrows or something, or thought that maybe if he did that just small adjustment here. I have a unibrow. I remember a date one time made fun of me for it. Wow, that's not cool. Okay, because your name is not Ben Shapiro.
His eyebrows started going crazy. Oh my god.
That's probably what it is. It's
It
probably like
definitely is.
finasteride or something.
Well, because the beard thing is a real trend. Remember, it was like, you know,
Oh, yes.
my whole. Well, you're not gonna be happy with what I'm saying. It's on the conservative side of things. But JD Vance growing that beard. He also
Matt
got
Walsh.
stubble. Matt Walsh.
James
I
Cedar.
know someone who is
Ted Cruz.
conservative and Jason Friend. We looks like almost like the beard from JD Vance. We mock him like, oh, now you're turning into JD Vance. I think it's a trend on the right. Is all I'm saying.
Well, none of those guys have chins either, which is part of it.
It's a manly. I think like there must be some manosphere thing about beards hiding your weak chin. Yes.
I would 1000% bet that Emma is probably correct, and that's the reason why they grow beard. Look, I don't care. Personally, if I wasn't this lazy, if I wasn't lazy, which I am, I would probably like shave more often. I don't like having that much facial hair, to be honest. The only reason I have a beard, or you guys see me with a beard, is because like I've just been too lazy to shave. But I actually prefer shaving.
100%.
That's got it, but it's a new thing. Because I mean, when's the last time we had a president or vice president with a beard? I know you're pointing. You have a beard, yes. What?
No, I'm just highlighting my very strong chin.
When's the last time we've had a president or vice president with a beard before JD Vance?
I would say probably the late 1800s.
Right? That's what it's a manosphere trend. It's got to be. And
Beard. I think we had mustache in the 20s.
Benjamin Harrison was the last U.S. president to wear a full beard from 1889 to 1893.
There you go. There you go.
Bringing it back to the good
Hey, folks,
times.
don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out.
Making America great again. Me too. I get itchy if I have my beard. Oh, Sammy has it. Yeah, no, that's way too much, even for me. Like, no, if we reach those levels, although like I don't know, I think I've gotten close. But if we reach those levels, we're way past. We're way past. Like this is already enough for me, and then you probably see, it's not really that much. There's like nothing. The Sam jump scare. There's not really that much, facial hair going on here, and even that's already like okay. I should shave this weekend. It's basically the gist here. But that's just, my personal preference.
The greatest cost to war, first and foremost, will always be the cost in terms of human lives. Thus far, 7 American service members have died, and in Iran, there's been more than 1,300 deaths, primarily of civilians, including over 300 children. And in Lebanon, which Israel invaded following retaliatory attacks from Hezbollah in defense of Iran, 500,000 people have been displaced, and almost 400 people have been killed, including more than 80 children. And this doesn't even take into account the ongoing genocide in Gaza.
That's so freaking horrible. That is so freaking horrible. And just so like also just so that before we like get more into this here, I was gonna like bring up an article, but I don't think I have enough gas in the tank to be able to go through it, so we're just gonna briefly go over it. It's getting hot. So it is 100% confirmed. Okay, now it's not there's no doubt anymore that the missile that hit and killed 160 plus children, possibly more, was U.S. It was a U.S. Bomb. No doubt about it. There's no there's nothing else left in terms of evidence. It's 100% us. And apparently, according to this new update that just happened a couple of hours ago that started showing up on the news, apparently this happened, this war crime happened because we had outdated and bad intelligence, which doesn't excuse the war crime. It still happened, okay? So apparently that's the story. That's what happened. They had bad intelligence that this was a military target. Obviously, it wasn't, and 165 children are dead because of that. Look out for Kowalski from Nebraska here in this video. Nice.
And Israeli annexation of the West Bank, where Palestinians are killed in terrorist attacks by Israeli settlers on a near daily basis. And life is precious, so we should always center human lives as the real cost of war. But there is a portion of the American population that doesn't care about wars unless it affects them personally. But unfortunately for those people, it will indeed affect them too, in a plethora of ways. Axios reports that the cost of oil and gas will predictably spike, and this is something that Americans have already been feeling at the gas pump. But on top of that, travel will become more expensive, as well as the cost of goods, especially
everything will become more expensive. This is an obvious domino effect when you mess with the oil supply, right? Like the that's what runs everything. Transportation increases the prices of everything. The supply chain runs on transportation, oil. And we've got reports, which again, I'm not going to be able to go to over the full articles, but we've now had reports that several vessels have been hit. And there's been several of these vessels that have been hit in the Strait of Hormuz or close by. I believe Iran has taken responsibility for one of those attacks. They're also putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz. So yeah, I mean, expect this to be a problem for the foreseeable X amount of future, right? This isn't gonna just go back to normal like the next day if we stopped bombing Iran. Gas prices have exploded. I've seen it firsthand. It's really bad. And anything downstream from that, right? Even food.
Plastics, seeing as how heating and cooling are necessities for the production of plastics, which requires oil and gas. But a lesser discussed aspect is the cost of groceries, because yes, that'll increase too, by a significant margin. And I talked to Kowalski, a Nebraskan farmer, who explains why this is the case.
Kowalski,
we should expect
report.
Grocery prices to probably rise from anywhere from like 5 to 10%. Given what I knew a few days ago, the reason I believe this is going to be the case is because of the disruption to liquefied natural gas and fertilizer in the Middle East. We know when referencing 2022, any chart you go to around that time, there is a massive spike in commodities, and most of this is driven from fertilizer. Just so folks are aware, artificial fertilizer makes up about half of the calories we eat today. There is not enough naturally occurring fertilizer on this planet to keep all of our food systems going. So if there is any disruption to artificial fertilizer, it causes massive reverberations throughout our supply chain.
Fantastic.
And in the Middle East, particularly in the Strait or beyond the Strait of Hormuz, you have countries like Qatar, the UAE, and you have Saudi Arabia, who all produce a lot of liquefied natural gas.
Yeah, which I believe Saudi Arabia or the UAE had another big refinery hit just recently. So yeah, the situation's cooked, folks. It's not. This isn't going to be resolved anytime soon.
That is your primary energy source when you are making urea, which is a nitrogen-based fertilizer. I believe something like a third of all of that is actually produced directly there. And then the natural gas they export to places like Europe and to India, they also use that natural gas then to make fertilizer. So it's one of those things where they produce the fertilizer, but they also produce the good that you need to get the fertilizer. So with the Strait of Hormuz being...
Yeah, Prairie Fire. Prairie Fire Kowalski. Bad Lefty, welcome.
Cut off right now or disrupted to this degree, this has stopped the flow of nitrogen out of the Middle East. Right now, it is just pre-spring in the Northern Hemisphere. This is when we need fertilizer for the growing season. This is something that you cannot stop. This is a biological process. It works with, your calendar.
Yep.
It's not something that you can just, oh, we'll do it later when the things get straightened out. No, this is you.
Yeah, like this is the kind of stuff that that should infuriate people, because this guy has no meaning our leadership, Donald Trump and whatnot. They don't understand the other dominoes that fall from this, right? Pete Hegseth is all about trying to summon the apocalypse to get Jesus to come back or whatever. Donald Trump is just trying to stay out of prison and desperately trying to avoid any mentions of Epstein and all his dealings as a pedophile. And we've got, of course, the war hawks like Lindsey Graham. I mean, all of this is a recipe for disaster. We're waiting from the Bituation Room. Hey, Frantifa, I appreciate all of you hanging out here. Thank you. Is that the 17th Hemsworth brother, Kowalski Hemsworth? Yes. I produce my own urea every day, but don't worry, I'm just pissing it away. Getting ready for the oil and food stoppage. They say if the war continues, both will stop. They had released the oil reserves today already. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not good. If it continues past X amount, I think it's it doesn't have to be that long for this all to come grinding to a halt. 4 weeks or something like that. If this continues past that 4-week point, which we've been told, that's just something that we might have to get comfortable with, then yeah, it's gonna be pretty freaking bad. It's gonna be pretty freaking bad.
Go now. And with this disruption, if it is anything similar to what we saw out of Ukraine, we are going to see a massive spike in fertilizer, and that cost will then reverberate down the line. So when it comes to cereal grains like corn and soybeans, this will lead to an indirect increase in the cost
go follow,
of dairy products,
go follow Fran,
meat products, your indirect.
On Substack and on Twitch, on YouTube, everywhere, please. 7, welcome. Silver lining, reasonably likely collateral consequence, average daily CO2 emissions tip. Yeah, true. Turn off top chat. I have no idea how to do that.
But we still use artificial fertilizers on fruits and vegetables, nuts, orchards, the whole lot there. So these costs will be felt for a while, because even if everything was sorted out today, we have 2 weeks worth of disruptions. And just like that shipping container that got stuck in the Suez Canal cost us the planet $3 billion a day, this is similar to that, because we will now be rushing to try to basically fill the gap that has been forming. Fertilizer is not something we typically stockpile, because it can explode. Fertilizer is the process on how you make artificial fertilizer is very similar to actually how you make explosives. This is all thermodynamics. This is the flow of energy, all of it. So this disruption, it's something that we can fix as soon as the situation is straightened out, but the logistics of actually moving physical tonnage of this is a problem.
Yeah,
So-
and also like a lot of like our systems run on just-in-time supply, right? Like just-in-time supply chains, and like any little deviation from that just brings the whole thing down to a screeching halt. It's really that it's really that sensitive. It's really that sensitive. This is what you get when you have idiots in charge. They have no idea what they're doing. Yep. Yeah, just in time to be optimal for capitalist profit margins. Exactly. Just a heads up, Francesca doesn't like being called friend. The more you know. Oh, well, this is news to me. So yes, thank you, Bad Lefty. Francesca. We should just make a huge batch of compost tea.
Once the ships get in there, there'll be this gap and delay. So everybody who's now receiving fertilizer, we are all expecting there to be
You would know this if you would play Victoria 3.
shortages basically everywhere, and supply goes down, demand is actually ramping up, so you would expect the temporary price to increase. So this is pretty much a guaranteed hit at this point. Another issue to keep in mind, we live in the period of anthropomorphic climate change. So any disruptions like this combined with a natural disaster event is just going to keep compounding these problems. We're overdue for floods. We're overdue for more fires. We're overdue for droughts in a lot of areas. These things happen naturally. These things have been happening with greater frequency. There's been massive tornado outbreaks all across the Midwest recently, which is like 2 weeks early. The weather is very chaotic. So,
Yep. Just in time was my freshman college roommate's DJ name. Yep, well, little that they're in and or serving the ruling class, a group who by definition are the far most removed from any consequences of their own actions. They don't want a little just being a dumbass and a little, they know others will pay the cost for their crimes and or simple negligence. That's what affords them the luxury of being so careless. Yep.
when you have people making rash decisions, as like the war in Ukraine was, as this
Lived it
war
last
in the
night.
Persian
Yeesh.
Gulf is, it will cause disruptions. And if those get compounded with natural disasters, it might be something we can't realistically like overcome in a short period of time. Obviously, nothing about this conflict is good. I just generally don't like war, but if this conflict was something
Yeah, generally war is bad, yeah. Eric Kowalski wants boots on the ground. True.
that had to occur for whatever reason, this was like the worst timing for it, because this is right as we're going into spring, when we're ramping up construction, when, you know, all of our planting equipment in the northern hemisphere is getting going. There was already going to be an increase in the demand for energy. There was already going to be this increase in demand for fertilizers. This is known. But if you do not have experts advising the people making decisions of these known quality or, these known quantities, you'll end up causing, basically chaos. So it's also important to remember, if there is a major, natural disaster, it's not like we're going to be suffering from shortages in the wealthier nations. We will simply buy the food. We might even go to war for some of the food. We won't be the ones missing out, but it'll be the countries on the margins, like those in Central Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, that will be the ones suffering because they do not have the purchasing power like those of us in Europe, East Asia, and North America.
Yeah, and even then, like, And even then, like it doesn't mean like we're kind of like a hollow country essentially, because like while we're considered or supposedly considered extremely wealthy, it's a farce, right? Because like if tomorrow or if this goes on and grocery prices end up being exorbitant, you know, instead of like $8 eggs, which is pretty expensive, they're now like $20 eggs. Like, I mean, that's, people can't afford that. People before the war, before all of this started, are already, you know, pretty stretched in as far as money goes. So like, yeah, I don't know. This seems kind of a dubious thing to be counting on that.
So this puts a lot of stress on developing nations, which
But just to be clear,
should be avoided at all costs, considering how much turmoil there is out there.
just to be clear, like Kowalski is 1,000% correct that obviously the less wealthy, developed, the global south essentially will be the ones to bear the front of the climate catastrophe, the front of any economic shock that happens because of us. We're the ones that started the war, so anything that happens is essentially our fault. But yeah, Kowalski is 1,000% correct. They'll be the ones that feel it first. They'll be the ones that feel it first and feel it the hardest.
Now, assuming best case scenario unfolds and there's a solution to this tomorrow, so do you think that it's already too late for there to be a mitigation of any disruptions? Like, if everything were to be solved by tomorrow, let's say in a month or two, do you think that there would still be a spike in groceries? And if so, by how much, if you're able to predict something like that?
Best case scenario is 5%, because that is still going to beat the estimated inflation we were going to expect. Food prices always go up every year by 2.5% roughly. The issue we have is that with the way this conflict has gone, the safest thing an oil producing country can do if they are feeling like they might get attacked is shut the oil off. Do not pump it, because that reduces the risk of, you know, your entire system going up in smoke. So if the conflict gets resolved now, the ships then have to traverse to their loading stations. It will take a while for them to hook up. It will take a while for them to get the pumps online. It'll take them a while to get all the pipelines moving again. So you're talking like maybe a week until...
And Mike Jump Scare, yeah, he's the one doing the interview. Now Kowalski joins Leftist Mafia. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Maybe Leftist Mafia can do like a rotating, you know, rotating like a guest that comes on. I don't know. Yeah, that being said, we'll all feel it eventually. Yep. That's true. This is why most of the world has fighting season. It's not for months yet. Only the Sith deals in absolutes.
Like processes can resume. And then some of these ships, it's going to take them a full month to get to their ports. In that time,
Mike's in Studios badass. I agree. I was actually complimenting it the other day. Yeah, I agree. 1,000%. I'm pretty impressed.
we're moving. Like on our farm, a month from now, we will be planting. You work off of the calendar. You do not get to just wait. So if the fertilizer doesn't arrive in time, you still have to plant. There are ways you can work around this, but it will mean a loss of production. So lower yields while we are expecting higher weather insecurity.
So the cost of groceries is going
Yeah, and that's pretty, like, just to be clear, like, farmers also operate at very thin margins too, right? Like, the situation's pretty bad. It's not great. Barely bought anything at the grocery store on Monday, and it came to $80. I thought something was wrong, like I rung up with someone else's cart, but nope, it's not. It's going up even more. Yeah, and we haven't even seen, like, the real big economic impacts of this war. we haven't really we haven't really seen that we haven't really seen that hit quite yet. I mean, like, we see the shock sticker shock at the gas pumps because that just kind of happens overnight, right? But like the downstream effects, the dominoes that haven't fallen yet, it hasn't really hit, but it will. It will. Anna, welcome. The economic house of cards is primed to fall down. Yep. And the U.S. farmers were already effed under Trump's tariff. Now they're double effed under Trump's war. Yep. Indeed. We're all doing great, folks.
To go
We're all
up,
doing
not
fine.
just for Americans, but for people around the world, all because Donald Trump decided to invade a country that posed no threat to us. And even if things get sorted out really quickly, it's already unavoidable. It's too late. A price hike is inevitable.
Yep.
Best case scenario, 5%, as Kowalski put it. And there's
even again, like a price hike is all but guaranteed. It's just a matter of like how big this price hike is going to be and for how long, right? Bruno, welcome. I'm late to the Polymarket Studio Live.
this effort right now to convince you that all of these war crimes that we're committing in Iran is worth it because there's going to be some long-term benefit, right? Short-term pain for long-term gain. And this is being reinforced again and again and again in an effort that can only be described as psychological warfare to manufacture consent for this war. And if you don't believe me, see for yourself.
This is a short-term disruption for the long-term gain.
Short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Man, they're all getting their talking points in a row, right? They're getting these talking points. And look, folks, don't buy any of this crap, okay? Especially if you need to talk with any normies who are listening to the news and don't really understand except listen to whatever the man in the suit tells them. This is bull, okay? We've seen this story happen before, right? Like, all we have to do is go back to circa 2001 and 2003. It's the same garbage. Heat, how's it going? Welcome.
Short-term pain be for long-term gain.
We're going to have some short-term pain with long-term gain.
Short-term pay for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain, yes, but we've got some long-term gain.
Lazy ass propaganda.
And short-term spike for a long-term gain.
Some short-term pain for American consumers. We may have to deal with that in the short term.
Short-term and temporary.
Temporary short-term pain.
Fantastic. Neoliberalism perpetuating inequality is always short-term pain. Yep. Jesus effing Christ, it's always the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, they didn't even bother.
Stuck in the short term.
Some short-term pain.
Mm-hmm.
Short-term pain. We have to focus on the short-term.
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 Short-term and long-term.
Short-term.
Hopefully this is a short-term pain. Short-term is highly outweighed of the long-term benefits.
Some short-term pain for the long-term gain.
Short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain.
They honestly think that if they repeat it enough, it'll stick. But it's not going to change the fact that we have nothing to gain from this war and everything to lose. And that's especially true for the innocent people of Iran.
Yep. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Sure, if you're rich, because the wealth only gets transferred one way. Yep. And it's also like nonsense, right? Like, that's just not the way capitalism works anyways, right? Like, when have you ever seen like companies be incentivized to like lower prices after like a inflation situation, right? Like, they're only incentivized to try to keep prices as high as possible while still selling you the same thing. I bet all these people pass college by pure plagiarism. Imperialism is the armed military wing of neoliberal economics.
And it's important to keep in mind that even if they survive, which most Iranians will, the agricultural impact of this war is going to be felt for a very long time. And Kowalski specifically wanted to draw attention to the ecological impact of acid rain on Tehran.
Morally speaking, I think what just happened in Tehran is a crime against humanity with the detonation.
100%. Like, no doubt about it, 100%. And as I was saying the other day, when it's Hegseth's turn, you know, to face the music, to face the trial, that thing that the quote that he said about like we don't need to do woke wars anymore and worry about these minor inconveniences, like civilians or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna play great in his trial. They only say that crap over and over to kiss the ass of millionaires. Yep, the Roman Empire in the West also fell because the people were given a bad deal, just like the modern day U.S. Hopefully that pain is felt mainly in Tel Aviv. Kowalski is right. Yep, he is.
Of their oil reserve tanks there. We know what acid rain does.
It's apocalyptic. It's apocalyptic. It was literally raining black rain. You ever hear the song Black Rain by Ozzy Osbourne? It was released like quite a minute ago. It's literally talking about this. the Middle Eastern War in 2003. Kegsworth needs to face a military court and be sent to The Hague. Yeah, yes. Yes. Pete Hegseth absolutely is one of the people among many who need to face trial for these war crimes and crimes against humanity. 100%. System of a Down 2. Yep, BYOB.
Ozzy Osbourne. Crops to soil health, and what they've done there has compromised a very vulnerable ecosystem. Tehran was already suffering from chronic water shortages.
Yeah, look at that.
They were already reliant on pumping stations and water treatment facilities, and by doing this,
they
have
from that
poisoned the
MTV
soil
reality show. Yes,
that feeds a lot of the city. It will get into the drinking water. It will impact livestock.
Yep.
And it will likely increase cancer rates for a generation.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. No doubt about it.
That is a war crime. It is a crime against humanity.
Yep.
That is wrong on every level. Not just that, if our whole modus operandi of this war was to replace their government, you would not cripple a city the size of New York with poisoning their water supply. You wouldn't put all of their pumping stations at risk. You wouldn't put them at a risk of a water shortage.
Yeah, this is why to say that this is only a regime change war is not true. Not necessarily. Not really. At the very least, it doesn't appear to be the case with their actions.
This is something that we really have to come to terms with all over the world, is the impact agriculture has on, ecosystems. We already know that.
And just to be clear, again, if you're American, if you live in the United States like me, our taxpayer dollars paid for this. Our taxpayer dollars that they take out of our paycheck, out of our money, is being funneled to do this. Is being the reason why there is black rain in Tehran, the reason why there's hundreds and hundreds of children dead, the reason why there's about 1,000 plus, just shy of 2,000 people dead in Tehran or in Iran, is because of our tax dollars being funneled to do this. I mean, when do we, and we, I mean, as a country, when's the line? Where's the line? When do we get angry enough? Yeah, that's been counted so far. Everything in our country is set up to prop up our imperialism. Yep. At the end of the anti-Corey Feldman livestream, they played AI anti-Corey Feldman songs, and I requested System of a Down AI anti-Corey song, and they made two and played them. I was amazed by how good they sound and how quickly dude is able to tell AI to make them. Wow. It's not to mention hundreds of people dead in Lebanon.
likely overuse of fertilizer in places like Iowa that are leading to increased cancer rates, which, you know, we're trying to address. And here, even in the wealthiest country in the world, where we have relatively good laws on water quality, we still can't clean this. And now we just destroyed all of like the water systems around Tehran. And for what? Like it's just painful to see. And it's going to be just like, if in a wealthy country like the United States, we can't keep our water clean, what do we expect a sanctioned country like that to do? It just does not make any sense. I despise when people are, you know, suffering needlessly. I'm also generally very concerned with how Iran is going to be able to produce food this year. I mean, those energy reserves were something they absolutely needed for their own domestic agriculture. So this is going to hurt them very badly. And Central Asia is one of those areas where there has been persistent droughts in certain regions. There is food insecurity. We don't know what the long-term impact of like the acid rain cloud is going to do. It was completely monstrous.
So it's devastating. And we don't know when this is going to end. In fact, Donald Trump doesn't even seem to know when it's going to end, seeing as how he's saying that the war is both complete and also that it's just the beginning. Like, he's literally saying both of these things at the same time.
Mr. President, you've
literally 1984 shit.
said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared
Well, I think
for
you could
this war
say
to
it
last
both.
for?
I think you can say both. No, what? He like that's the thing. He can just get up there and say that. He can just get up there and say that, and that's that. You know.
Not even he knows when this is going to end, but even if it ends tomorrow, an immense amount of damage will have already been done. And we shouldn't simply just breathe a sigh of relief when it's over. Like, we should do that, but we shouldn't just do that. We should also push for accountability, because if leaders like him think that they can do things like this and get away with it, future presidents are going to do the same, and they're going to be even worse.
Yeah. I mean, like, Bush wasn't really, Bush wasn't even, restrained. Bush wasn't restrained, and look what happened. The Iraqi Minister of Information was more consistent, just saying. In our reality, it doesn't require a vote. That's true. So here, just to kind of keep going with what Trump's been saying, on his trip to Ohio and Kentucky, to try to assuage, you know, the economic problems that are incoming. His trip to try to rally up farmers, however, was shadowed by the military action in Iran, which Trump said was an excursion that will keep us out of a war, right? So more 1984 language here being used, right? We need to go to war to keep us out of a war, right? He added of Tehran, for them it's a war. For us, it turned out to be easier than we thought. Okay. The president also acknowledged the stock markets have been volatile as gas prices have risen, saying, I figured we'd be hit a little bit, but we were hit probably less than I thought. So don't worry, folks. It's fine. We expected this. Everything is fine. In fact, I didn't expect it to be this little. I thought it was going to be higher. What? I mean, how many people buy this? Like, seriously, does anyone actually genuinely believe this besides, like, the MAGA cult? Which he then goes on, we'll be back on track in a pretty short while, which is not how that works. Prices are coming down very substantially. They are not. You can just go to the gas pump, okay? Like, I don't even know how the MAGA cult is gonna ignore this one, because it's like it's at the pump, right? So prices are obviously not coming down. We can see that it's at the pump. Anyways, oil will be coming down. It hasn't. The economy's greater than ever, folks. He called the turmoil just a matter of war, but remember, it was an excursion, special military operation, if you will. But it's not a war, but it is a war. Maybe it's not. Whatever. An excursion. He called the turmoil just a matter of war, saying that happens, while adding, I would say it went up a little bit less than we thought. So the reason why he was doing this little tour, but the Dow, you know, no one talks about the Dow when I was president. So basically he's on his trip to try to take down Thomas Massie for defying him. And that's pretty much it. As far as this, what I wanted to talk about here. Polls show that Americans were increasingly wary of Trump's handling of the economy even before the conflict began, and the fighting there has derailed Trump's messaging as low gas prices he once bragged about, which are now surging, and stocks that had set record highs have now slipped. So anyways, yeah, so he's just trying to go around pretending that everything is fine when it isn't. Anti-intellectualism has cooked this country 100%. 100%. There's never a war, it's a genocide. All right, folks. We're just gonna go through this one quickly because we've been talking about the SAVE Act for a couple days now, so we're not gonna go too much into it. But we're not gonna go too much into it. But Trump is still insisting on trying to get this this legislation passed because he knows that the midterms are not looking good. So he is desperate to try to get this passed. President Trump continued to lob pressure on Majority Leader John Thune to find the votes. You know, you need to find me 11,000 votes to pass the SAFE Act, saying that Thune has got to be a leader. Well, he's got to be a leader. If he's a leader, he's going to get them. It's the most popular bill I've ever put before Congress, and it's voter ID. What? It's not just voter ID. We already have that. Okay, we already de facto have that. When we register to vote, we're not adding voter ID. We're adding additional barriers and making it more difficult and taking away mail-in ballots to reduce the amount of people that are able to vote, or to reduce the amount of people that will go out and vote. It's about putting enough barriers to make people not want to stay home or not eligible because, oh, well, now they got to go get this document they may or may not have. If they don't have the document, they have to pay money, effectively a poll tax, to go get those documents to then be able to vote. You have to be able to be a citizen to vote. It's called citizenship. Well, thank you, Mr. President. You'll be happy to know that pretty much that's the way it works. Yeah, so it's not necessary. SAVE Act is made to U.S. elections just like those of Russia. I mean, like, kind of. The SAVE Act! I'm gonna try, okay? This is just gonna be this one impression. The Save America Act is not gonna save, you know, it's just me and my pedo friends, you know, Jeffrey Epstein. Are we still talking about Epstein? So, I lied to my own country. Thank you for your attention to this matter, but I'm also telling the truth because, you know, I'm your favorite president and I would never lie to you. You know, the fake news, they may lie to you all the time, but not me, not me. Trump said the legislation would also block transgender participation in women's sports. Again, this is supposed to be about voter eligibility, okay? So just to be clear, this is about voter eligibility. Okay? And we're blocking trans people from participating in sports in the voter eligibility bill. Gotcha. And restrict gender affirming care, which of course that's obviously a part of voter eligibility. Additionally, Trump said the legislation would end fake mail-in ballots. Not a thing. This is a delusion, a delusion that was fabricated in his mind. There's no the idea that there was a massive campaign of fake mail-in ballots just never happened. That never happened. That just didn't happen. That hasn't happened ever in the history of our elections. Okay? This idea that there is a fraudulent campaign of fake mail-in ballots just didn't happen. Okay? It just didn't happen. There's no evidence that this happened at all. Not just in the 2020 election, not just in the 2024 election, not in the 2016 election. It just has never happened. Okay? It just never happened. There's no evidence that any time that we've had mail-in ballots in our elections, okay, that we've had a problem with them. It just never happened. In the history of our country, in the history of having mail-in ballots, okay? I think it's the most popular bill I've ever put before Congress, he said. Thune told his Senate Republicans colleagues on a Tuesday that they do not have the votes to pass the legislation, which, again, was supposed to be the most popular bill, but unfortunately they don't have the votes. Got it. Which Trump has called his number one priority. The reason why he's called his number one priority is because he knows that the midterms are looking worse and worse for him. Fake ballots, that's already illegal. Correct. Never ever. Like literally never. If somebody could find me, okay? If somebody could find me a time and point in history of this country when we've had mail-in ballots, if anyone can put evidence that there was a situation where we've had a massive fraudulent campaign with mail-in ballots that were fake, feel free, but otherwise, like, just know that this is a lie by the president. How many votes? Enough? Like a campaign that would alter the results of the election, because I'm sure there's always going to be, you know, one or two people that mail in fake ballots, right? It's always going to be that. But to say that there's a massive problem with the mail-in ballot system is just not true. It's just not true. It's never happened. And of course, here's the reason why Trump is doing this. Trump warned the House Republicans in Florida on Monday that passing the SAVE Act would be critical to help Republicans keep control of Congress in November. Because, of course, that's what this is about. I'm an idiot. There we go. I knew the bait would draw them in. Just like moths to a flame. Moths to a flame. If you've got an argument, feel free to put an argument. Otherwise, get fucked. Moths to a flame, folks. Moths to a flame. Do you want to make this into a cooking stream? Because I can turn this into a cooking stream if you want. People would be doing prison time if there's election changing fraud like that. Yep. And some people did. Some people did go to prison. But, you know, it was just like a handful of people. It was never going to change the election. It will guarantee midterms. If you don't get it, big trouble, he said. So in other words, he recognizes that they're cooked. He recognizes they're cooked, and the only way to save themselves is by cheating. It's by cheating. Moths to flame burned by the fire. That sounds like a good lyric. That sounds like an awesome song lyric, to be honest. SAVE Act is making election fraud into law while claiming it's fighting it. That's exactly it, because it was never about election fraud. Trump has also increased the pressure on the Senate GOP leaders to embrace taking the talking filibuster by not endorsing a candidate in the Senate Republican primary race between John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton. Thune and Senate Republican leadership have urged Trump to back Cornyn. soon acknowledged that he was concerned about the disagreement with Trump over the filibuster. I mean, yeah, that's probably not a linkage that is in anybody's interest, because voting on the Save America Act is something we can do, but passage is not guaranteed. You have to make a political decision independent of what the final disposition of that might be on the floor. True, cheating even more than the historically established median baseline for the amount of cheating they typically do. Yes, which is gerrymandering, voter suppression, yada yada yada. Employing a fake elector scheme to try to steal the 2020 election. Yeah, how many people went to jail for that? It's a handful. Not Trump, of course, not Trump, who orchestrated that and was behind it. They're doing everything possible to cheat in order to win. At this point, if they win, I 100% know why. Oh, 1000%. It's very apparent. It's very apparent. Like, even the dog shit, obviously an intentional design to be anti-democratic electoral college shit, isn't working anymore. Isn't enough to steal the popular vote, not even the ever-worsening gerrymandering. Yeah, like that. That's how you know these people are so freaking shaken. That they are, he is desperate, okay? The guy was talking about not signing any legislation until the SAVE Act gets passed, okay? Like, the guy is desperate. The guy is desperate because he knows that all of this isn't working. It's not enough. It's not enough. That's how cooked these people are. Not even the chicanery around the intentionally not allocating enough resources in Democratic-leaning districts, such as lines creep to many hours long. Yeah, and they're so afraid that all of this combined is still not enough, and they know it. The guy's freaking out, if you ask me. The guy's freaking out. But you know. Oh, Janet Jackson. Oh, that is already lyrics? Really? Oh, no wonder it was good lyrics. Ken Paxton is the man. Y'all young people have no knowledge of shit. Demon rats want to stop the cheating. So again, like moths to a flame, do you have an actual argument, or are you just gonna make a ridiculous, absurd comment with no substance whatsoever? Threatening us with a good time. That's what I thought too, until I realized, you know, I thought that too, and then I found out in real time that if a president just refuses to sign legislation, it becomes law automatically anyways after X amount of time. So like, you know, it's one thing if me, a podcaster, says it and gets it wrong, you know, whatever, egg on my face, but like the president literally didn't know that. If he just doesn't sign any legislation, it just becomes law anyways. Ken Paxton is not the man. He's a fascist, so fuck you. Anyways. Demon rats. Anyways, we got one more. We got pocket vetoes don't actually work in the US. I don't know what a pocket veto is. Ah, okay, so yeah, the special exception called the pocket veto. That's a good question. Pocket veto. It is a passive but absolute veto exercised by the president or governor to kill legislation and taking no action within 10 days of receiving the bill provided by Congress is adjourned, although Congress can reintroduce in session. Okay, gotcha. Oh, okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So maybe that's what he was thinking about? I have no idea. He could do that, but he'd actually affirmatively veto all of it. For the most part, except circumstances where it doesn't actually become law. I don't call offhand, but I think it has to do whether or not Congress is adjourned at the time. Gotcha. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit more complicated than I thought. Gotcha. Okay. Anyways, carry on with that plan, Mr. President. Yeah, we don't need any more legislation passing. I agree with that. And your new keyboard. I have the only keyboard with the keys that sits differ over time. I remember this. Manda, welcome. Alright, folks. I know there's a lot of stuff happening. Okay, a lot of things are happening at the same time. Man, these MAGA losers just lose their gumption so quickly, right? Wow. They just like make one absurd, stupid comment and then they just leave. It's fantastic. I love it. I know there's a lot of stuff. I know there's a lot of stuff happening with the war in Iran, and just so much stuff happening. The flooding of the zone, if you will. But I kind of want to bring it back again to put some light on this. It appears that the law, it appears that the law, the anti-trans law that passed in Kansas is going to be here to stay, and unfortunately it's not good. It's not good news, because that means that maybe this is a blueprint that works, that can be deployed in other solid red states that have a veto-proof majority. Kansas has revoked 1,700 transgender driver's license. Some are leaving the state, which of course I don't blame them at all. Some 1,700 Kansas, and just to be clear, like 1,700 people is not like, in the grand scheme of the state of Kansas, is like really just like statistically, it's just so little. And the fact that these people felt the need to craft legislation to put these people down is just absurd. Like the hate and the bigotry just to hurt people, just to hurt 1,700 people is unbelievable. It wasn't for racking up speeding tickets or DUI charges, just because they are transgender, or another way of putting it, just because they are. That's it. Just because they are. Kansas is one of 5 states to prohibit trans people. Whoa, come back. From changing the gender marker on their license. But it's the first to pass a law to retroactively cancel licenses that were already changed. It is just heartless. Y'all have been probably indoctrinated since the 90s. You talking about indoctrination is absolutely laughable. I don't think I want prayers from you. I don't think I want anything regarding prayers from the likes of you. And the fact that you're talking about indoctrination is absolutely laughable. But if you don't have any argument, which you obviously don't, you can fuck off. It's pretty simple, right? Like, if you don't have an actual argument, then like why would you even respond to the obvious bait? You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have anything but demon rats, right? And claims of indoctrination, why don't you just like fuck off? Why do you keep typing? Does he mean indoctrination is a myth? Yeah, who knows? Who knows what this person actually knows? Whatever. And the last person I want prayers from is someone like you. Please don't pray to your God for me, okay? Yeah, is the China under your bed? Okay, is that it? Chinese infiltrating the public schools. Okay. The Chinese infiltration is just facts that he doesn't agree with. Listen, go back to your basement, okay? Red states such as Kansas watch more trans prawns than the blue states. There's some kind of weird psychology going on with these right-wingers. They're right-wingers, so... No, there's no reason to give any of these people the benefit of the doubt. They're just losers. Like, anyone like talking like this about Ken Paxton being the man. No, these are just MAGA losers. Top G. Hundreds of trans drivers have already received letters from the state informing their documents are invalid immediately, and they may be subject to additional penalties if they continue to drive unless they surrender that license. to the Kansas Division of Vehicles to receive a new one with the birth sex. I'm pretty heartbroken, said Jaylene Abeg, a 41-year-old trans woman living in Wichita who received a letter, said she will not turn in her license and plans to move to another state. Yep. That is the reality that 1,700 people now have to do. 1,700 people, by the way. It just blows my mind just how horrible just hatred. Like what are we doing here in Kansas exactly? Yeah, we'd be doing much better if the Communist Party of China were in fact infiltrating public schools. If the yeah, exactly. This is some evil shit going on. Yep. It is a continuation of the message that the legislature has been sending out for years now, that transgender people are not welcome in Kansas. Two anonymous trans residents sued Kansas last month, arguing that the law violates state protection for personal autonomy, privacy, equality, due process, and freedom of speech. On Tuesday, Douglas County District Judge James Macabria declined to grant a temporary restraining order against the law while the case proceeds. So yeah, we'll have to keep following up with this, but it doesn't look great. Macabria wrote in his decision there isn't enough evidence to show that trans people will face harassment and discrimination if they have to use bathrooms or show IDs that conflict with their gender identities. What are you talking about? This already happens, even where there's no laws like this. What are you talking about? They already face harassment and discrimination without any of these laws. And now that you're going to force this on people, it's going to be obvious that there's going to be more incentive to harass and by definition, this is discriminatory. Actually, yeah, here it is, guys. The party of small government. You know, making sure you're using the right bathroom. I mean, this, with their trans BS, there's a weird psychology, like they watch the prawn, they feel guilty. Yeah, because it's an affront to their god. So, of course, right? Like, it's an affront to their god, but they like it. So it's kind of like this catch-22. So what they end up doing, obviously, is just lashing out against trans people. Because either they themselves are in the closet, or are scared to admit that they actually are attracted to a trans person. And that kind of rustles their jimmies, right? And so they lash out at the very, people, right? Like gay people, trans people. 15 other states have made similar changes in the past few years, and President Trump issued an executive order declaring that there are only two unchangeable sexes. Thanks, President Trump. The State Department now prohibits trans people from changing their gender markers on their passports. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach sued the state, arguing that allowing people to update their gender markers violated the 2023 law. Last year, Kansas Supreme Court affirmed an appeals court decision that allowed gender markers changes to resume. In January, Kobach backed the new bill, saying he would correct an error by the courts. The state Senate added a provision prohibiting trans people from using bathrooms that align with their gender identities in government-owned buildings. It was passed without public comment. The penalties for violating the provision could be $1,000 for individuals and up to $125,000 for government entities with more than one infraction. Fantastic. Last month, Democratic Governor Laura Kelly vetoed the bill, saying the legislature should stay out of the business of telling Kansans how to go to the bathroom and instead focus on how to make life more affordable for Kansas. Yeah, obviously, right? Like the party of small government, right? They're trying to police what bathroom you go to. And of course, her veto was overridden. So anyways, the point being is that I don't see that this bill is going to be stopped anytime soon. So this is something to keep an eye out, because I imagine that if it continues to be successful, that it may cause a ripple effect, and other states may implement it. They should just accept that trans women are women, then they won't be at war with themselves. I solved it. No, these people. But how do you solve the misogyny part, right? Because a lot of the anti-trans stuff fundamentally also boils down to misogyny, right? It's a bunch of stuff at the same time. It's conservatives. What can I tell you? All right, folks, it's time for me to get out of here. I need to get out of here and get some food, and my voice timer has run out because my voice is still kind of cooked. It sounds better than it did yesterday. It sounds a bit more normal than it did yesterday, but yeah. And we just blame the damn boomers, Carlos. There's only ones that are just us with trans people. It's not the only ones. It's not the only ones. I wish I could just say that it was that easy. Thank you, Hannah. Have a good one. Thank you, Heat. Hey, folks, if you want to support the channel directly, check out all the links, do all the stuff, join the Discord, check out the Substack, join the Discord, check out my show on this space every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. Again with another short stream tomorrow, so we keep up with what's happening around the country. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you, Heat. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. Thank you all for your support. You guys being here and hanging out are what makes this channel go. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to YouTube side. Thank you to Twitch side. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are really the MVPs. Judgment Free Zone mods rule. They do. And so it's time for another woke episode. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you all for being here. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, about 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. The only thing that comes out of good these times is a DJT impression. I'm trying to make it better. What if we don't keep up, then we wouldn't need a longer stream? No, I try to shoehorn as many articles as I can. As long as my voice allows it. Is basically it. Hang tight, folks. Hang tight. All right, folks. We're getting ready to get out of here. Thank you all for being here. If you're on the YouTube, go raid wherever this space is on live. Right now, there's several other content creators that are live. DJX on Twitch Hangout, folks. We're about to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.